My name will tell you nothing. In your world, it was often called the teacher. Your world is once part of an empire, spanning hundreds of worlds. The call became powerful and obeyed me. A call betrayed me. You mean the Sun Forest? No, I don't have horns. Come with me to call. The girl walked confidently. She was short and didn't even reach Savvarah's waist. There were scratches on her hands and cheeks. There were no hurry to heal. And such injuries, he could call those scratches injuries on her husband's healed industry. It didn't take long, the trees came to sight less and less frequently. While lowered his pace, Alice, on the other hand, almost sprinted, but there she saw the Savvarah and began to lag behind. She slowed down as well. Rarely out of the woods, Savvarah stood between the trees, but he saw some pride in him. Alice had used the word town. Hard to hate, surely using the same words, with the same having meaning. Alice had only seen one city, and called the Sun City. What he saw now did not particularly resemble a city. It was a village. The village occupied a really large space. Don't notice the village was closely by vast river. There were quite a few houses, but some were considerably distant from each other. Both inside and outside the village, Savvarah saw a considerably sized farmland, which was easily recognized by the master's crops. The town was surrounded by sharpened logs stuck in the ground, resembling a hedgehog. The three curtains rested against the only structure that was made of wood, a small gray tower made of stone. Alice had stopped Savvarah. Wait for me here. Savvarah nodded. Alice ran to Kaltaar and House climbed a tree. On both the branch, only tried to make himself comfortable, hiding behind the foliage. You could see the Kaltaar perk up when they spotted Alice. Pretty soon a group of people advancing towards the woods. They were the men in the front, beside Alice, the rest followed them. Most of them looked frightened. Some were glancing at the trees, shouldering their necks to expect the attack. Others noticed that some bought pitchforks, sickles, and sellers. Some had weapons, so they did not feel threatened. Then they stopped. The girl who was still in the same rags. A heavy, imposing-looking man with blonde beard. Next to him was a blackened-bearded fellow, smaller in stature but looking more tidy. And the one who stood out most of all had no beard and no hair at all. Behind him was their most proudly of Kaltaarians. This pale creature hardly compared to the masters. They looked rather miserable. Nurse was sure he could kill them all with his bare hands. A man with an animal on his shoulder stepped forward. I had never seen one of them before. The coat was light-colored and had stiff stumps instead of fingers. Forest spirit, show yourself. Nurse grinned himself and he jumped off the branch he was sitting on. A black shadow of the lizard swooped in the foliage, landing on all four bars, landing in front of the pale creatures. They were using a small pile of dust. The inhabitants of Kaltaar recoiled. Their eyes of those head of the Savvarah too saw fear and confusion. They remained still. Forest spirit, tell me, do you understand me? I do. We are the residents of Kaltaar. My name is Skis. Through our good intentions, we brought you a gift. Skis nodded to the man with the animal. The man came a little closer. He didn't dare to get too close to Savvarah. He dropped the animal on the ground. He was alive. Its limbs were bound, so he could not get up. Only twitched a little and looked around. Others looked at the animal. The man's words were clear to him. They were afraid of him. To postate, they brought him a live beast to eat. Turn events, please, Savvarah. I mean, you no harm, and I accept your gift. I told you. Quiet. First noticed the priest breathed a sigh of relief, and the others looked at each other. Some kind of ritual with an offering. Please, Forest Spirit, tell me, what are you doing here? My name is Savvarah. I am the place you called Sun Forest. I met Alice in the forest. She also invited me here. The villagers looked at each other. They whispered something, looking in Alice's direction. He glanced at Alice and then at hers. Then he nodded. He turned sharply, arms toward him, sort of stressed. He was now standing on one side faced the others towards us. We invited the spirit, so the spirit came. We bought him a gift. The spirit agreed not to touch anyone. You have no right to instruct the spirit, otherwise not only him but Kaltaar himself will bring down his wrath upon us. He nodded in agreement. Turned to her and stepped forward. You can set foot in our town. We welcome you as a guest. Since Alice is the one who invited you, you stay in her house, but first I will ask you to come with me. A large, light-bearded man, slightly smaller than Hess, stepped closer. He bowed. He turned to Call and began to drift away. I am Gur. Alice is my daughter. I'd be happy to welcome you in our home. Sven. My name is Sven. I am the leader. I am the head of Kaltaar. You could see the sweat was glistening on his temples. He was worried, very worried. More than the others. He could feel his fear almost physically. Russ could even say a word when skis stood between him, Dur, and Sven and Alice. I ask everyone to leave. I have to show our guests the way. The people obeyed. They left the leisurely place, glancing at Hava. Puzzled Havas a little. He understood the meaning of the words correctly, then the head of the leader here, even if Sven is the head of the village, then who is skis? Is Sven the leader, ruler of Kaltaar? No, not at all. Sven is our head. The terms of the 4 summers we elect to head at the great meeting of Kaltaar. He doesn't rule over us, we trust him with guiding and respecting us. Then who are you? I am your servant of Kaltaar. Tara. His eater meant Regine surprised to his face. You don't know of Kaltaar. I am not familiar with the name. He is a deity, the ruler of earthly firmament. He is the one who makes soil infertile. The one who gives us the food that grows from the earth. I thought the forest spirit would know him. There is only one god in the place he called Sun Forest. The Forest King. That is what you call her. That's interesting. And what do you call him then? And what do you call your own forest? Kal is the name of the king of the forest, and the Sun Forest is called Skara by its inhabitants. Your forest, guard it occupies our minds, but I couldn't imagine the power of the gods not reaching it. Kal commands the weather, the earth, the wind, the plants, and everything that's far, and I have never heard of any other gods but him himself. It's amazing, simply amazing. I'm sorry, but this is exciting news. I really wish I wasn't the only one to hear it. Come with me. Oz followed the priest, throwing on his shoulder the animal he had been brought to his gift. He spoke at Hall with great interest. Next to the wooded gate just outside the stone tower. The wooden houses are mostly large. Most of them had one single floor, but apparently high ceilings. Oz noticed that many of the gated fences, houses, shutters, and other things were covered in various carvings. Noticed other interesting detail. A road made of stones led to the town, straight to the stone tower. It didn't look new, but it was sturdy, neatly made, and ran through the whole town. Suddenly a thought crossed Savvarah's mind. It wasn't you who built the stone tower. Hard to say, it's been here for a long time. It's already there when my father and his father before him lived here. It's also think it was built by someone who was here before us. Horned ones. Where are we going? To the teacher. Do not question the skis, seeing that he was not all eager to tell us guests anything. He slowly approached the imposing wooden statue. Up close, Savvarah could see that it was wood in which outlines of certain man had been carved. He could make out the beard, the nose, the hair, and the limbs, striking that his tomb was adorned with jewelry. Right in front of the totem, the ground was brown, harassing an often unpleasant smell. Must have been a lot of blood spilled here. Savvarah thought this was Kaltaar, the deity worshipped by the locals. All the houses were the same distance expect one. It's right next to the totem. This house is small and squat. It seemed to be consistent of one roof and one door only. The strange house they were approaching. Please come in. Please leave our gift at the entrance. Don't worry, no one dare take it away. Savvarah nodded. The house seemed quite squat, but in fact Vesta didn't even have to duck. For it was below the ground level, as if the house itself was a pit with a roof. The inside was surprisingly empty. There was no floor in the room but soil. Slightly damp soil. There was a table at the very center, and animal skins scattered underneath. There were no windows, only the source of light. There was numerous flying wisps, which Horace mistook for insects at first. Closer inspection, however, it turned out that they were just little clots of light. Magic. The source of this magic creature was sitting at the table very center. The creature wore ample robes like skis, but he had thick white beard and thick white hair and a thick beard. His face was sharp, even predatory. His eyes shone faded blue. Long stick fingers peeked out beneath his ample robe. One definitely knew how to use magic, even looking imposing. Greetings, our guests. My name is Oka. Please have a seat. Oka eventually gestured to the skins and laid on the ground in front of him. The Forest King plunged there and sat down. They were almost the same level. The old man's gaze was heavy, pressing didn't seem to blink at all. Though he possessed magic, I was absolutely certain this Oka was no match for his masters, let alone Akal. There was one time this creature from outside the world had caused him any anxiety or even sense of danger. Akal placed a wide, rather deep bowl between them. He raised another vessel to his level and head. From the swift dim stream of liquor poured to the bowl. In the half-light, it is impossible to see the color of the liquid. When Cole took the ball, he put a sip to his lips, and after that he put it between himself and thought, "Have a taste. What is it?" "My rock, I made it myself. It's not lethal. Why would I poison you?" "Sure." I didn't think anyone reason to poison, so he grabbed the bowl and took a small sip. The one was warm, sweet, but not sugary. It tasted quite pleasant. He put the bowl back down. "I call this drink Kaltaar. It is a nice taste." "I know." The old man showed a small smile, which caused her a slight plug. He had not been invited here to try drink Hetty. "I am told that you call yourself Savvarah." "Yes, that is my name." "Are you really a spirit?" "Any doubts?" "There are some. I haven't seen the likes of you. I sense that you reek of strong witchcraft, but you do not look like a spirit. There are no such creatures like me in your woods. I know that, even though you look like a hermit or a beastman. Beastman? Never mind. Why did you invite me?" "They call me the voice of Kaltaar, a very flattering nickname. I'm Kaltaar's son, but did I not speak for him? I hold the knowledge and experience and protect the inhabitants of Kaltaar from threats in which weapons cannot save them. I help the inhabitants of the village to deal with creatures beyond their imagination. Even at night, I fight evil spirits that evade their dreams. But your host looks so poor." "Wealth distracts from the important work. I meditated a day ago and felt the earth, the air, the sky itself howl. I knew they had been torn apart by witchcraft far away from here. I knew that the Sun Forest was to blame. I did not understand what was going on there. I now know it was you to blame. You're telling me you felt it when I left the Sun Forest?" "No. Not really. I'm sure the Forest King tried to stop you. To do so, he used sorcery that made the earth scream in pain." "How can the earth scream?" "As it is with any other creature, it is a cry that can be heard by only a few. I'm glad to have met someone who knows something unknown to me. Perhaps tell me about the Sun Forest. If I tell you about the place I came from, can you tell me what I want to know?" "Of course. If I know the answers to your questions myself, I call it Savvarah, the center of Sierras, and call it the City of the Sun. There is a city in the middle of the Sun Forest." Now the eyes of Cole were gently surprised. No wonder the natives, the Sun Forest was a mysterious place, and only known by mysterious. "Yes. It looks completely different from your town. The houses are big and white. They are made of stone. Kaltaar is ruled by what you call the Forest King. We call him a call. There is no creature in Savvarah that do not fear him. Within Savvarah he commands everything. Fire, water, earth, the sun itself, the living and the dead. Everything. And his skin is green." Now Inha's turn to be surprised. Internally, no, he thought all the locals know nothing about Savvarah. "The sailors once told me a story about a warlord in the north gathering an army to march into the Sun Forest. When the Forest King himself fully appeared in the sky, guise of green-skinned giant. Then the Lord of the North decided to prove his strength by traveling the Forest King to a duel. Enter the house. A moment later, the Forest King tore his head off, turning his body into a tree. Any of the masters could have done that. However, turning a living thing into a plant? Why did you run away?" "I don't want to be a slave." "Were you a slave then?" "There is only a call and his slaves in Savvarah." Kolo was silent, thinking about something. Harris could see the tension in his face, and Saran made up his mind and broke the silence. "Tell me, Akal. Do you know who Dar is?" "Yes, my teacher once told me he was the god of the tailed ones. But recently I learned from sailors that he is worshipped in different places, and even some northern consider him protector. God of the tailed ones." What does that mean? Far to the south, there's a place that sailors and travelers call Savvarah, or the Kingdom of Savvarah. There are people who look like us, but with colored skin and tails. They are said to have violent mores, and God loves blood and murder. Even before you said I look like a beast man. That's right. I heard about them from the sailors too. I know if it's true, they say that far, far away from here, beyond the endless waters, there's a land where creatures like us live, but with horns and creatures with two-legged animals. The horned ones beyond the boundless waters, demi-humans. So how did you get there? We are not sailors, the biggest travelers are northerners, that's all I know. I haven't heard the Beastman with scales. If I didn't know you were from the Sun Forest, I think you were from the Fire Desert. What is this place? This place is far to the south, is ruled by creatures who are like gods to people, like you and me. Dragons rule there. Who are they? I don't know what dragons are. I don't know much. There are said to be monstrous, intelligent beasts beneath the gods. The people of the desert worship them, and even the King Savvarah himself keeps a nose out of the desert for fear of the dragon's wrath. This scant information was too much. A couple of days ago, Haras had only known that the outside world exists. Now he learned that they inhabited by a multitude of astonishing creatures, that Savvarah is tiny and insignificant against the backdrop of colossal space. Tell me, Haras, what do you seek? What do I seek? You rebel against a call. You fled from Savvarah. What do you travel the world for now? Because there had to be a reason. Sees a creature has lived in a cage all his life and now suddenly finds himself outside of it. You're curious to see the world outside that cage. Same time I see that you're not driven by a passion to adventure, but something else. Perhaps it's anger. Anger at a call. Not only that, but yes, above all on a call. Then you desire his vengeance, perhaps. You know the story of Kaltaar, do you? That he ended up the same land as us mortals. I don't know. Amongst his brethren, the gods resided in heaven. Kaltaar was the oldest. He had once freed his world from the shackles of darkness, saved his people, a hero among gods and a god among heroes. Most worthy to rule. But his younger brother, Evis, was jealous of Kaltaar and plotted to betray him. This conspired with dragons and other gods who were jealous of the older brother. He tricked Kaltaar from the heavens to the earth, where he came down on him with all his might among the dragons. My master said it was their battle that turned the green expanse to Fire Desert. Kaltaar was mighty. He killed many dragons, wounded Evis, and it was the dragon named Kaltaar who dealt him the fatal blow. It's the eldest of the dragons, the most ferocious and the most bloodthirsty. Kaltaar survived. He fled in the battlefield, hiding among the mortals. Then of east returned the heavy mansions, rejoicing in his victory, but Kaltaar was furious. He could not simply forgive the murder of his brethren. The beasts came to our lands in search of Kaltaar. He burned people by the hundreds, if not thousands, devoured them. Kaltaar wanted vengeance on the seas. He wanted to hide, regain his strength in return for vengeance. But Kaltaar sieged and destroying people, he could not bear it. He went to fight the dragon, prevailed. Legend says that Kaltaar gave up on his revenge, having chosen a different purpose, a good purpose. He fused with the earth, giving up his heavenly mansions to help mortals. Did Kaltaar's brother become ruler in the heaven? No. Kaltaar's death created a rift and unthinkable enmity between the gods. Some could not forgive these betrayal, while others did not see him as the strongest. These became one of the most formidable gods, subjugated thunder and lightning that only Kaltaar could control before. He did not fight back, choosing to protect the mortals instead. But if the protection of mortals depended on fighting Evis, you only wonder, is it not for us mortals to try to understand the actions of deities? But I believe if it was the case, Kaltaar would have fought Evis. I became free. Thousands of my brothers are still slaves. They dare not think of freedom, believing that a call is a god in the flesh. I understand your feelings, but what good is anger if you can't do anything about it? Say to yourselves, the call is all-powerful. Tell about Derek. I'm trying to help me with that. I don't know myself. When I was freed from the shackles of Kal, Dahar came to me in a vision. He promised me the power to free my people. Dahar sighed. He frowned a little. So that is why you asked of Dahar. And what did Dahar say? Many things. He told me a Kal got his power from Dahar. I was stunned. He did not try to hide his surprise. So Kal is a servant of Dahar. But then, no, not a servant. Kal deceived Dahar, got the power that made him equal to the gods, and then betrayed his patron. But how? This I do not know. Dahar promised that he would give me enough power to punish a Kal for everything. He wants something in return, doesn't he? Yes, he wants to enter our world. That's why he once gave power to a Kal. Makes sense to me. If so, I'll tell you what I know of Dahar. I said earlier I didn't know much about him. That's true, but I get all sorts of rumors, mostly just from the sailors. The dragon worship called Dahar the Father of Doom and the Lord of Calamity. I didn't know that. I never heard that name in the Sun City either. Dahar is an evil god everywhere else. Tell me, what are you gonna do? Think about what Dahar's had telling you. I know too little. But I know that my brethren are being held slavery by Hall, and Dahar promised me to crush him. It is worth thinking about. You see. His icy gaze fixed on Savvarah. He said nothing, but Hers felt the energy concentrating around him. Slight variation, muffled ringing in his ears. Magic. Sense of danger prickled the back of Hers' neck, but Savvarah tried to stay calm. He lived too long in an environment where the sorcerers were extremely dangerous. Now he was a very different place after all, and suddenly the ground was literally torn in spikes and pierced through his body in an instant. They tore through his chest, his gut, shoulder, his arm. Blood gushed from his mouth, he can even wheeze. Wow. That's not cool. Been hard on you, it's just how you've been free for a few days now. A lot of people can't figure out if they're going for years and their path has just begun. So it turns out you want to talk. Nothing but creatures like you, tall, I have taken upon myself protecting the events of Gnome. What about Skis? He is my student. My searcher is a different task. Sometimes when people look for them in villages. Why? I have a guess I can cast magic. Children with the same gift are rarely born. It means the hornless ones have no ability of magic at all. Among the masters, on the contrary, I never met one who is incapable of sorcery. These was our conversation, Forest Spirit. Tell me, how long are you going to stay in Control? I don't know. We're not going to turn you away. You can stay here as long as you see fit. But no one is obligated to give you gifts other than the one you've already been given. No one is obligated to feed you, though I'm sure Alice's family will thank you for saving her. The rest is all that Ukan's words are hidden thread. If you do anything wrong, I'll come after you. And somehow I was still convinced that the old man was dangerous. You may leave now. Yeah, because he killed me. I'm gonna end it here. Thanks everybody for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.